Welcome back to Millennial Nation, and today we're going to talk about good debt versus bad debt. Now, when I was younger, I had a lot of bad debt, and I think everybody does when they first get out of high school and they realize that they have all this opportunity, so to speak, that they think of getting some things that they think are cool. So, when I was younger, I went out and I got into a lot of credit card debt, which is bad debt.
Yeah,
Having
terrible.
credit card debt maxed out and paying the minimum payments on is a terrible idea. But I guess we're going to get into good debt versus bad debt and how to help yourself get. I guess it really depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
So, depending on what your goals are, really decides on whether it's good debt or bad debt. So, for me, I wanted to buy a house when I got all this debt up and I realized, well, I need to really grow up and take care of my money. And I said, I want to get a house. So the good debt was to create the good debt, I needed to pay my credit cards off. So I paid those off, and it's good to have that debt, but only about 1/3 of your available debt on your credit card. So you only want to have about 20 to 25% onto your credit cards and have the rest available to you.
Yeah.
Also, I think
And that's an extreme amount.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an extreme amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to have debt, but it's also bad to have no debt. So if you
Yeah.
have no debt, then they don't have anything to, I guess, give credibility to you getting a loan for hundreds of thousands of dollars
And paying it back.
and paying it back.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
one of the things having good debt is a student loan. So a student loan is a good debt if you get into a career where you're able to repay that debt and not get into a career where you can't repay that
Yeah.
debt. So
Or-
it's not a lucrative career.
Yeah, you get in something. I mean, like I did. So I went to school, paid $20,000 for tech to become motorsport technology technician, whatever you want to call it. I graduated, never used it once. Paid $20,000, I think it was, for everything. To me, that's bad debt. I got nothing out of. I got certified out of it, but I won't use it. And even if I did use it, I'll be making minimum wage for the first couple of years. Like you said, not be able to pay it back. We have friends, your brother, engineers, to where they can take home $80,000, $100,000 because they know once they get that first job, they're gonna make that the first year because it's worth that, or work up to it. But you don't want to get it to where you get a degree to where you're broke, paying back so much money a month, hundreds, $500-$600 just for a thing you're not even using.
Yeah, and you could get that degree in a career that could be lucrative,
Yeah.
but you have to understand that most people have to start at the bottom. Even though you graduate with an engineering degree, doesn't mean that you're going to start out making $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
You have to work up to
Work
that
up,
point.
yeah.
I mean, even though that's the average is over $100,000 a
Yeah.
year, but you start way lower than that when you get your first job, especially if you don't have any experience in the field that you're going into.
Yeah.
So a good debt would be, to me, having under a good income debt to income ratio. So you want your debt to be about maybe 40% max, including your mortgage, compared to your income.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good percentage as far as debt to ratio.
Yeah, because how many people do we know that don't have a house, but they they make great money. They make $40,000-$50,000 a year, but they have $700 car payments a month. They go out drinking. They put the credit card bills, like you said, minimum payment is $300 because they have a $15,000 bill that they need to pay off. And once you add the interest every month that goes up, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Another good one, I think, it matters, but consolidation loans. So me, you probably might do it. I had, credit card, a couple thousand onto it, 26% interest rate. I can go get a personal loan, consolidation loan for 7% with a fixed term to pay that off. So I know as of this day, I'm done with that. If not every month, that amount goes down $50 and I put $300 on it.
Yeah, the minimum
it just
payment
never
is a bad
ends.
idea.
Yeah, and when you look at it, it tells you on the statement, it has to tell you how long it will take you to pay it off. So it takes you, except for 3 years, which your personal loan would be, 7 years, and you're paying the same, if not more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I took 2 credit cards for on one loan, I pay $100 less than
Yeah.
I did with the 2.
So debt to
Yeah.
ratio income gets better.
Yeah.
And that's also good when you buy a car,
Mm.
and having the long-term payments is good for your credit history report, but you don't want it to be too long. You don't want to be paying on something that is actually underwater. So at the end of the term, you're still 6 years in, and you still have 15 grand or 20 grand on a car that's only worth 7 or 8. That's bad debt because it's not a good investment. You can't get anything out of it because what happens if you get in an accident?
Yeah,
And
if
the
you don't have
insurance is
gap,
only going to pay 7%.
If you have gap insurance, you're good.
Yeah,
but that's why I buy most time I buy a used car, but only a year or two old. I don't because you pay $60,000 for this car. You drive it off the parking lot, you will be upside down the first mile. That's how it works. It sucks. I bought a jet. Remember, I had my jet ski. I bought that for $12,000, and I had it for like 2 years. Never used it. I was like, I gotta sell this thing, so I'm not using it. And I was still upside down $4,000. I was like, shit. Like I have to take a loss. Luckily, I had somebody that actually said, "Don't just pay it off for what I owed," and I was happy as can be.
Yeah. I gotcha. I guess going into having we talk about having debt, and then we have to talk about when they look at no debt.
Yeah.
So they go back and they see that maybe you didn't get into all buying the stuff when you got out of high school and buying the motorcycles like I did and buying all the other things, and then you have nothing. Yeah. That's terrible too because they don't have anything to base your trustworthiness on.
Yeah, no history.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, I see the good debt and the bad debt, but it's really important to have a debt to income ratio at a low percentage.
Yeah, always low. Yeah, because like you said, when you buy houses, if it's too high, they won't give. They don't give you 30% most time. 30% of what you make is what your payment could be. So if you make $3,000 a month, all they're going to give is your loan for $1,000 a month. Find something. It is what it is. I mean, another good one maybe is to pull a loan to start a business. So if you pull, I need $200,000 to start a restaurant, get it at a bank, get it. That is, as long as your terms are good and you can make that, and still pay all your other bills. That's another good line. Another way to go. That's good debt.
Getting to the point to getting approved to get that loan is the hard part.
Good luck.
Is really taking control of your good debt and bad debt. Also, a lot of people don't know that canceling your credit cards could actually hurt you because you don't have the available debt available to you. So basically, they look at it and they say, well, you used 10% of your available debt to there. So that's good. Yeah. But if you have, let's say, a $5,000 credit card and you have $4,000 on that, and then you have another credit card that has $10,000 on it and you don't have anything on it, that's probably it's a pretty good debt, even though that first credit card isn't good to have $4,000 on it. But you still don't want to cancel that other credit card because then they'll look at it and say, well, you only have $5,000 available now, and you have 4,000 of it taken out.
Yeah, but also they don't know why you closed it because on your credit report it just says closed. It doesn't say closed for what reason. The bank told you to get your consolidation loan. You need to close off those 2 credit cards. That's it. If you want to buy your house, you need to pay off this and get rid of that card. Your Macy's, whatever the hell you have. So it doesn't give you. I think they should change that, but I don't know how that works.
Also, applying for too many things at once. So you say,
I
want to get a new credit card to have more available debt, so your ratio looks good. But opening too many credit cards harms you as well because they're thinking, well, what if this person who goes out and they spend all this money, and they say, well, I'm leaving, going to another country now, and disappears. That does happen as well, where you take out all these credit cards and you max out all these things, you get everything you can out of it, and then knowing that you're just going to live in another country.
Or you do bankruptcy, which is
bankruptcy, right? You max
the
everything
last
out.
thing you should ever do. Especially with, I'm sure there's so many programs out today that you can call them and say, hey, I'm in deep shit. What do I do? And I get papers all the time for my student loans, and I'm not qualified because I have this or I make that. To get rid of your debt, your student debt. So there is programs out there. You got to think when you do bankruptcy, you're talking 7 years. Yeah. That's on your credit statement. Says, hey, they filed bankruptcy 6 years ago, 5 years ago. You're not getting anything. And I know somebody that has it, and I feel bad for them. Because she wants a house, she needs a house, but she can't because she did it 3 years ago. I'm like, you're only halfway through.
That's all you're.
So for the next 3 years, you better save up cash money because it's gonna be so hard.
And even after that, it's tough to build it. It's still there.
Oh yeah,
You can
well
still
it's there.
see the report.
It's after 7 years, it's supposed to be pulled off your file. It's still saved, but banks can't see it. They're not supposed to see it. I'm sure
right.
they
If you're
see
working
it
with
somehow.
the same bank the whole time.
Yeah,
they're
they
gonna
know what you did. You know.
Yeah, they're not giving you a $400,000 loan to go buy a house.
Yeah,
I can tell you
no.
that.
No.
Or
All right.
if they do, it's going to be an extremely high interest rate.
Oh yeah. Yep. And luckily now, the variable rates. I don't know anybody even has those anymore. So if you have that, stay the hell away from it. That's what created the housing boom 2007, 2008. Because people were like, oh, we're fine, I can pay my bills. That's because your rate was 3%. And as of this day, it's now 7% or whatever it was. It doubled. You still got to pay
there's
that
also
shit.
other loans out there too that are kind of sneaky, and they create it to a way where your first couple of years are actually very cheap, and that created as well. So 3 years down the road, they can't afford the payment because they thought they were going to be at a different position in their job when they really weren't going
Well, I'll be
to
able to afford that then.
And they say, well, now you say you had a $1,600 payment at the first year, but then by the fifth year you have a $2,400 payment because they kind of backloaded it after the first couple of years, and now they can't afford it and they foreclose on their house.
Yeah, and it's just like people to go out, they buy the cars, no payments till next year. And then you get this big car payment. What if next month? I mean, there's always a chance. What if you lose that job, or you don't get the position you think, like you said, you're going to get this position, make more money, or your business doesn't take off like you were hoping in a couple months. You don't get that customer that was going to pay big dollars. Now you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
all right. So bad debt, of course. Credit cards. We already talked about that shit.
Yeah.
Too many credit cards. Yeah, maxing out credit cards. You put gas. Like I know people, they put gas on there. So $200-300 a month. You pay it off. You're set. But if you hold it on for a long time, or the rewards programs, you get 3% cash back every month. But your interest rate, if you don't pay it off, is 20%. So you're still upside down. 17% or whatever
you have to pay
it is.
it off every month.
Pay it off. And sometimes shit happens. I've had it to where I had no credit card debt, and then all of a sudden I had problems with my income. So now the only way I was going to actually eat and pay for stuff was to put it on credit cards. That's the last resort. I fixed that issue. I will never go back to that issue ever again because I took over my financial area.
Well, when you buy a house and you start getting this responsibility, let's just say you walk on the eggshells, especially when you're dealing with your job.
Yeah.
You don't want to make too much noise because you have that responsibility hanging over your head now.
Yeah.
Where you have to pay the payment. You have to. If you don't, you're going to ruin your life for the next 5-7 years.
Yeah. Yep.
You're going to be very limited on what you can do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and people that bought, I know a friend that has a guy I work with who has 2 car payments, over $1,100 as a car payments, no house, nothing. So he's like, I need to sell one of these vehicles because he wants to buy a house. I try to tell him, do not buy the second car. You don't need it. You need to buy a house. You're 26. Time to grow up. Oh no, dude, I'm fine. All right, go get it. Now both cars is upside down at least $7,000 or $8,000 because he bought them brand new. 2017 models, had to have the newest thing because it's got GPS and shit on it. Well, guess what? Now you can't get shit. You're not buying shit except for a $60,000 condo somewhere you don't want to live.
In a high interest rate,
Yes.
and by the time you pay off the 30-year loan, you're going to be paying 3-4 times as much as you.
It's not. I refinanced my house. I was lucky. I saved that money, refinanced it to 20 years. So I saved $118,000. I had to put down another $4,000 to refinance, but I still saved $118,000 and 10 years of payments, which would equal up to that. That is great debt. That's just a smart financial move. I was like, I have to make it because I didn't know what was going to happen. The election is what really scared me. I was like, I need to get this shit down now because it was such a low interest rate. I would be dumb not to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we've really dove into what's good and bad for buying a house, and if you want good and bad debt, I guess if you're an investor and you're looking to invest those things, some of the good and bad debt will change because you're looking to save more money than you are to have the debt on your credit cards, or to have the debt somewhere in a car loan or something like that. So some things can switch around depending on what your goals are, and at the end of the day, yeah, sure, if you want to go out and your passion is to do something in a certain career, even though this is something that you wanted to do, it's your goal, and it doesn't pay that much, but it's something that you wanted to do, that's completely fine too, as long as it's okay with you. We get it, not everybody cares about the money as much, but we're specifically trying to help people who want to take the next step in becoming a successful. So I feel like having a house and knowing what the investment is and part of it, and getting a good loan so you can pay your house off quickly, and you can pay the car loan off quickly, and you can get the things and the loans that will help you find that big investment and become an entrepreneur eventually, or become a more successful person at the end of the day.
Because if you don't know, same thing with business, if you don't know your numbers, how much certain things cost, how much you're making off each product, you're going to be screwed. So not knowing your financial numbers, what's good debt and bad debt, you're setting up, like you said, for a very long time. When you make financial decisions, it's for the long term. It's not something, I'll buy a car in a year if I don't want to get rid of it. No, most likely you're stuck with it. Just like people do I'll get a lease, and I'll lease it for 2 years. You get nothing out of that 2-year deal. All you're doing is paying for the depreciation over, what they're going to lose when they sell that car in 2 years. So trust me, they're still making money. You're not getting, I got it off, I got a good deal. No, you probably got screwed, and you just don't know because you don't care. You want the item. I want the car. I want the nice T-shirts. I want the nice suit and shit. Well, guess what?
Nobody's going to admit that they got screwed over.
But deep down inside, and we could look and say, we know you got screwed because you're a dummy.
Yeah.
You didn't look into it. How many people, I need to buy this certain item. I saw this nice car I want. I saw this nice jet ski I want it. You don't care what the price is. You just want that item. Well, don't get pissed when you're paying on it and you're screwed, or you miss out on something, an opportunity, because you weren't really thinking.
Yeah, it screwed you later in life.
Yeah.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a good talk on good debt and bad debt. We hope you guys learned something, a few experiences from our life, and what we did to change our bad debt into good debt, and I guess why we have houses now, and hopefully everybody else can jump on the train, and learn something from it. So thank you guys very much. Like us, comment us, share us, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks, guys.